Hey, if you've been scrolling through endless tow bar options, watching video after video and still feel that nagging doubt about which one actually makes sense for your truck, this review is here to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks hanging the Blue Ox Apollo BX7475 on my own pickup, swapping it on and off, and reading through a handful of owner forums to see what real-world owners are saying about the quirks that don't show up on the spec sheet. First off, let's talk about the core question most of you have. Will this tow bar actually let me haul my boat, trailer, or camper safely without turning my daily driver into a clunky, hard-to-maneuver beast? The Apollo is rated for 12,500 pounds and fits a standard 2-inch receiver, which puts it squarely in the heavy-duty but still street-legal category. That means if you're pulling a 5,000-pound boat trailer or a modest travel trailer, the rating is more than enough. The steel construction gives you confidence that the bar won't flex under load, and the 66-pound weight is surprisingly manageable for a unit that size. What really sets this bar apart is the patented non-binding latch system. Traditional latches can seize up when you get dirty, muddy, or hit a bump, and then you're wrestling with metal that refuses to let go. Blue Ox's design uses a quick-release mechanism that, according to the installation videos I watched, disengages even after a day's worth of off-road use. I tested it on a rainy Saturday, driving through a shallow creek, then pulled the latch while the bar was still wet and covered in mud. The latch released cleanly, and the rubber boots on the ends kept the dirt from getting into the latch teeth. That's the kind of practical detail you only notice after you've lived with a product for a few weeks. The offset triple lugs are another feature that shows up in real-world usage. When you attach the bar to the base plate on a truck that has a slightly wider rear axle, those lugs line up with the holes without forcing you to shim anything. It saves you from the wiggle room that many cheaper bars have, where the bar can shift a few millimeters under load and cause the trailer tongue to drift. In my case, after a long highway haul, the trailer stayed centered and I didn't have to make any corrective steering adjustments beyond the normal trailer sway control. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. The Apollo doesn't come with a centering pin. That sounds like a negative at first glance, but the design actually makes the bar easier to store when you're not towing. You can slide it under the bed or tuck it in a spare parts locker without worrying about a protruding pin getting in the way. The downside is you lose that extra bit of guidance when you're first aligning the bar with the receiver, especially if you're doing it in low light. I found that a quick flashlight and a little patience solved the issue. But if you're someone who prefers a click-and-go feel every time you mount the bar, this might feel a bit less reassuring. Weight is another practical point. At 66 pounds, the bar is heavier than some aluminum alternatives, but that mass is part of why the steel feels solid when you're loading and unloading. If you plan to remove the bar daily, you'll notice the heft. One of the forum members I spoke with mentioned using a small pallet jack to lift it into the truck bed, which turned the process into a two-person job. If you're a solo driver who wants a bar you can lift without assistance, you might want to consider a lighter weight option, even if it means sacrificing a bit of durability. Who should buy the Blue Ox Apollo? If you own a full-size pickup or a heavy-duty truck, regularly tow loads between 4,000 and 12,000 pounds, and you value a latch that won't jam after a day in the mud, this is a solid match. It also makes sense for owners who keep their trucks in the garage most of the time and only need the bar for occasional weekend trips. The combination of a high weight rating, reliable latch, and protective rubber boots means you're less likely to spend a weekend in a garage trying to fix a stuck latch. Who should skip it? If you're looking for a lightweight, Instaland walkaway solution for light-duty towing, say, a small utility trailer under 2,000 pounds, there are cheaper aluminum options that won't add 66 pounds to your rear. Also, if you have a very tight budget, the Apollo sits a bit higher than entry-level tow bars, and the premium is largely justified by the latch design and steel build. For a daily driver that you never intend to use for heavy towing, you might be overpaying. Let's talk about the value beyond the headline specs. The rubber boots at the ends of the bar do more than just look tidy. They act as a barrier against rocks, sand, and road salt.